And so Chelsea's unbeaten or Chelsea's winning run comes to an end, shall we say. Nottingham Forest, a team that we knew were going to present us with a difficult game today. It was never going to be a walk in the park. Nottingham Forest are a tough team for us to play. We've only beaten them once in the last 5 meetings, once in the last 5 Premier League games. Nottingham Forest are always a difficult team at home or away for Chelsea to beat. We only just scraped it over the line 3-2 last season. And that, like I said, was the first win in 4 attempts. In 5 attempts, 1 win. And I think we could have got a little bit more out of that today. Obviously, definitely you look post red card, down to 10 men. You're looking at this Chelsea side to provide a little bit more cutting edge, a little bit more inspiration. When they do, I know they're going to sit deep, particularly in that second half, particularly when they do lose that man. But Chelsea have the ability. We have the players. I would have liked to see a couple of earlier changes today. Bringing on Christopher and Nkunku and João Felix is an ideal situation to be able to bring in those sort of players off the bench. Technical ability through the roof, fine footwork, great in tight spaces in and around the box. Really devastating players in the final third. Players that are able to create something out of nothing, in really tight spaces and find that pass, thread the ball through the eye of the needle. But a little bit of a lack of impetus from Chelsea today. And I don't know whether that's, us going into the international break. I don't know if that's the Stamford Bridge crowd compared to the away crowd. I don't know whether it was us kind of running out of steam a little bit at the end. I'm not really sure. But, it's the same Chelsea side that we've seen create really positive, attacking, fluid football in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Yes, we have been a bit leaky, a bit porous at the back, but I thought today at the back we tightened up a little bit. I thought, until the last 20 minutes, I thought Fofana and Colwill were both pretty solid. Colwill, again, I thought had a solid game today. Tosin looked good when he came on. Obviously, Fofana picked up that yellow card late on, which means against Liverpool, it's now most likely going to be Colwill and what's his name? Tosin in centre back. Cucurella out at left back as well. He's going to be suspended for that game, picked up a yellow card today. So Renato Vega likely going to come into the team at left back if we are, providing everybody is still fully fit. But a couple of changes aside, we're going to be playing pretty much the same team. I wouldn't expect him to drop Nicholas Jackson, even though he had a quiet game today. Not like he missed a bucket full of chances. Not like Nkunku, came on and scored and kept that pressure on him. Big chance for Nkunku at the end. And I've got to say, congratulations. A man of the match today has got to go to the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. And for us, has got to go to Robert Sanchez, because both keepers kept us in it at times, particularly at the end. World-class saves from Robert Sanchez. And I've dug him out again this week and said that I'm just not comfortable enough with Robert Sanchez with the ball at his feet. I don't think his all-round game is there. I don't think it's good enough for us to be saying that he is our number 1 long-term goalkeeper. I still think Philip Jorgensen deserves a shout. I still think George Petrovic could potentially deserve a shout when he comes back from Strasbourg at the end of the season. But Robert Sanchez today, if he keeps pulling out saves like that, I can't sit here and complain. I can't sit here and moan about the guy because, there were 3-4 world-class saves in there that kept the score at 1-1. And were it not for Robert Sanchez today, we probably would not have drawn that game. So fair play, yet again, a couple of poor passes, couple of poor hospital balls. You're never going to eradicate that out of his game. But on the whole, far more positive than negative today. I thought his all-round play, still left a lot to be desired. But those saves, fingertip saves, world-class saves. The save from, who was it? Was it Silva? Neto? Someone. One of the saves from Pedro at the end, great save. But the save from, was it the Williams? The Liverpool kid? Neto Williams, maybe? I can't remember who it was. Whoever took it on his right foot, bent it in that top corner, and Robert Sanchez kept it out. I don't know how he managed to do that. Obviously, Cole Palmer similarly denied at the other end by a superb, not even superb, sublime double save by Sells. And Gusto had a good shot save. There were a few. The Nkunku save. How that first half Palmer scrappy goal didn't go in, I don't know. But I think both keepers, I was going to say they got out of jail. They got away with one today. I think both keepers got us out of jail, got both respective teams out of jail today. Both teams, you could argue, got away with it. And I think on the face of it, a draw was probably a fair result. I think Chelsea dominated, but not to the point that we have dominated other teams like Brighton, Wolves, and even when we have slipped up at the back, we've had more than enough going forward to combat that, to make sure that we do finish off these teams. And we do still lack that ruthless, that clinical, we have seen it in part, when when we do stretch the game, go up against a team like Wolves and start scoring 3-4, it does start to become a little bit of a rout. And we have seen that in glimpses from Chelsea, but never really over 90 minutes. We haven't really seen a professional, assured, clean performance from Chelsea. And again today, in bits, I think Madueke shows what happens when you keep knocking. You don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle. And Noni Madueke, a player that a lot of the Chelsea fan base have been suggesting could be dropped this week. I didn't think he would. I thought Maresca would go with exactly the same 11, which he did. But I thought if there was going to be one player that you could argue could come out of that 11, I think, Pedro Neto's probably pushing on that right side. But in terms of, comparing what Madueke did to what Pedro Neto did when he came on, Madueke, is keeping his starting position next week. He's got another goal. It was a quality finish. I thought on the whole, his decision-making today was a lot better. There were a few in the first half, which I thought maybe he could have crossed instead of shot. But there was a couple which I thought were absolutely fantastic, weighted balls back, made the right decision. The importance of our decision-making in the final third, particularly when you compare this Chelsea squad, we've got an average age of 23 compared to, the closest average age in the Premier League is 25. We've got a far younger average squad than anybody else. And you look at the front four, fairly inexperienced. Cole Palmer, 1 year under his belt. Nicholas Jackson, 1 season in England under his belt. Jadon Sancho hasn't played a full season in England in his life because he's never got the opportunity at Man United. He's been on the fringes of the clubs that he's been at. And then you look at Madueke, who's, again, 1 season at Chelsea. It's not like we've got a front four that is gelled, that knows how to play, that fits together and can anticipate each other's movements, runs. Yes, we'd like to think that is something they will develop and have been developing, but it is, it's slow. It takes time. It's a process. They've only been playing with this formation, with this situation for 3-4 months now. So we have got to give them time to grow into that. But you see Renato Vega and Mudryk in midweek, the relationships they're building. I thought Mudryk, again, was quality tonight. I thought he showed a glimpse, and I thought the balls that he were putting into the box was way more dangerous than what Sancho was doing. I don't want to dig out Sancho because I don't think he was particularly poor or, worth calling out, but he didn't do enough in terms of creating opportunities. And I think it mainly comes down to the decision-making in the final third. He gets his foot on the ball. He doesn't know whether to stop it, whether to feint his opponent out, whether to go on the overlap. I think he's a great player, but, it is very obvious that he hasn't been with this team for a long time and for as long as a lot of the other players. And I think that Mykhailo Mudryk, this run of cup games that he is going to have, obviously a bit of a stumbling block now with international break, but the fact he's getting a run of cup games will only allow him to grow, will only allow him to nurture these relationships. We saw, my manager sent me, or ex-manager sent me a video of Mykhailo Mudryk staying late after training, spending half an hour on shooting, just working on these tiny elements of his game. They only make up 2% of your 90 minutes when you think about it, but they are the most important minutes. They are the crucial, the make or break moments. You as Mykhailo Mudryk, when you're coming on at 70, 80 minutes, getting 10, 15 minutes to make an impact in the game, you're only going to get 3-4 opportunities to either take a shot, put a ball into the box. You've got to make sure that ball is inch perfect. The weight is perfect. Everything, whether it's a shot, whether it's a cross, you've got to make sure everything about it is perfect. And Mykhailo Mudryk obviously has a lot of work to do personally, and individually he's got a lot of work to do, but a lot of it comes from learning with the team and playing with the team. And I feel like Mudryk, does have that edge on Sancho in that he's been in the side for a year and a half. He's obviously got relations, established connections with some of these players that Jadon Sancho hasn't. And I think that is another, position that potentially, I don't think it will change come the international break. I think Sancho will be starting on the left. Madueke will be starting on the right. It will be the same team that we have seen today, with the exception of those two suspended players in the back line, which I think will be a pretty easy plug and play. Tosin in for Fofana and Renato Vega in on the left for Marc Cucurella. But on the whole, I think this Chelsea side is definitely growing, is definitely maturing as a unit. I think again today, while it wasn't the ideal outcome, and while we will on the face of it look at as 2-point dropped, I think it is a game that we could have, should have won, would have wanted to win. Definitely when they had gone down to 10 men, you're thinking now's our chance to go out, kill the game. You know, that six to have won 6 games on the bounce would have been unbelievable under Enzo Maresca, and to have been on 16 points going into the international break, you know, in that top 3, you know, come November, it would have been a, you know, breath of fresh air for a lot of Chelsea fans that have watched our team stutter, stumble for the best part of 2.5 years now. So, you know, under no illusions that this result doesn't change a lot. I think I'm still very, very positive at where we are, and I do think that it will, today we're just going to mark it down to last game before the international break, a little bit of fatigue. Nottingham Forest came to Stamford Bridge with a game plan. They were well organised. They played well as well. I want to give some credit to Nottingham Forest today because I think they played exceptionally well as a unit. I think the football they've been playing under Nuno this season has been fantastic. As a team, as a unit, they defend very well. They're organised. They don't give you much space, much time. And with a team like Chelsea, you know, that is massively important. You know, we like to stretch the game. You've seen how this Enzo Maresca team operates. You know, we keep slow possession, methodical, professional, and then all of a sudden, bam, we stretch the game. One ball over the top, one out ball down the line, and we've opened you up. We've unlocked you. And I thought Nottingham Forest dealt with us very, very well today, particularly in the first half. I think as the game went on, the game continued. It got a little bit more stretched. We started to open those gaps and started to cause problems. You know, with Nicholas Jackson running on the last man, he makes defenders make mistakes. When you've got Nicholas Jackson running at you at pace, it makes you make mistakes. And we saw that in the second half. Obviously, he saw it culminating with the James Ward-Prowse incident, which blessing and a curse, because, you know, if Jackson's through there, I think potentially, you know, you're looking potentially 2 ways. So a potential goal scoring opportunity. I'm not going to say he would score. I'm not going to say he would square it and someone would score, whatever. You don't know. There was a long way to go before he got to the goal. But as soon as Nottingham Forest go down to 10 men, whole complexion of the game changes, because it goes from we can get something out of this and we can hit Chelsea on the counter to we need to sit back and we need to protect this point. So obviously that changed the nature of the game, the complexion of the game, like I said, and in a negative way for us. But we had more than enough time and, again, more than enough quality on the pitch. The individuals that we had starting, the individuals that we brought on, João Felix, Christopher and Nkunku, both had chances in that box. And this is where Enzo Maresca is going to have to be incredibly harsh on these players and say, look, you know, these are the opportunities you're going to get. These are the 10, 20 minutes you're going to get. If you don't take these chances, if you don't score those goals, so like I said with Mudryk, you know, you come on for 10, 20 minutes, you're going to get 5, 6 opportunities to touch the ball to make something happen. So you need to make sure you put those chances away. And obviously, we got to give credit to the keeper, because mythical saves, AI saves. I don't know what happened to Sells after that booking, but he just turned into prime Petr Cech, prime Casillas, prime Buffon. Pick a keeper. Pick a world-class keeper. Sells outplayed all of them in the last 20 minutes. The double save from Cole Palmer, the save from Nkunku, the save from Gusto. There were quite a few in there that were worthy for save of the month. But I think Robert Sanchez unbelievably outdid him as well, because 2 of those Robert Sanchez saves were unbelievable. But Gabriel's right. You just can't give him the ball. JC, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Forest's dirty tactics throughout the game was mind-blowing. Park the bus, feigning injuries constantly, time wasting, and Chris Kavanagh has joined the shit list with Anthony Taylor. Chris Kavanagh was already on the shit list, mate. Chris Kavanagh's an awful referee. We've seen him do it multiple times with other teams this season. I think he's very, very clueless. I don't think they were particularly dirty tactics today. I didn't really think they parked the bus either until they went down to 10 men, at which point you have every right to park the bus with 10 minutes to go against Chelsea as Nottingham Forest at Stamford Bridge when you've got a point in the bag. But yeah, the feigning injuries, the keeper going down Sparko, pretending he was knocked out after being clattered into by one of his own players. I wasn't a fan of that. And obviously the time wasting. But at the end of the day, everyone's going to do it. And look, I don't think we can really be mad at Nottingham Forest. Again, when you look at the situation, Nottingham Forest down to 10 men, away to Chelsea, they've got a point on the board. I don't think we can be too mad at Nottingham Forest and how they play today. Because at the end of the day, they caused us a few problems. They created chances. It's not like they couldn't have gone out and got a winner. They did press for a winner at the end there. I think they just played it smart, played it professional. And again, I think, Nuno has got them playing pretty solid football. But you did say something, where's the comment? Which I completely agree with. Wasn't a huge fan of either of the centre mids today. I like both of them. Big fan of both of them individually. But yeah, not either of their greatest game today. And Lavia, he can't come back soon enough, man. I was really hoping to see him today. Great to see him back on the bench, but I wanted to see him before the international break. I know it's pretty a caution thing, just giving him a couple more weeks to get back up to full match fitness, get fully back up to speed, so we don't rush him into that Liverpool game. I personally think Lavia could come into the squad for the Liverpool game, completely depending on how we choose to work with Renato Vega. I think that will probably be the most likely situation, and Renato Vega just stays in that left back role and then inverts inside, giving Enzo and Caicedo a little bit extra protection, giving them an added body in that centre mid. But that's going to be an area that we're going to have to look at, particularly with Gravenberch. He's having a great season. They've got McAllister, Szoboszlai, might not be playing at the top of their game right now, but still great players and a lot of danger in that Liverpool centre and midfield. So I think Lavia could well come back in, and the sooner we see him, the better. Because I think at the start of the season, he was probably one of my first choice player, one of my first choices on that team sheet. I think he's a great talent. I think people, obviously the price tag creates a bit of a disparity because, you tend to group Enzo and Caicedo together, having, 100 mil, 115 mil price tags. You tend to kind of lump them together in terms of quality of player, of what we expect from them. Even though we only paid 50, 60 mil for Lavia, I would definitely group him in with Enzo and Caicedo in terms of quality and what I expect from him on the ball and off the ball. Make no mistake, he was a Manchester City Academy graduate and they wanted to keep him when he was, cooking at Southampton. They wanted him back, but there were more than one club interested in Romeo Lavia. He, he's not exactly thick. He knows exactly what he's doing in terms of his development and where he wanted to take his career. He wanted to make sure that he was guaranteed game time and minutes. And I think he definitely has the potential to play alongside Caicedo in the base, Enzo a little bit in front of them, leaving Enzo to not really worry about the defensive aspects of it. It would free Enzo up to just focus purely on the distribution, on, looking at us, dictating play moving forward. But, at the same time, that means you're losing someone in the 10. That means you're losing someone out of that front four. And, I'm not taking anybody, I do not want to unbalance that front four at the moment. I really like how they are playing together and how they're growing. And it's good again, to see these players challenging. And Lavia definitely, I think, is in line after the international break for more minutes and to lay down a marker on this Chelsea team potentially. Gabriel wants to see Mudryk on the right. I don't know. I mean, I think having him on the left, is obviously counterintuitive for him normally to cut in and shoot and then blaze it 20 feet over the bar. But we're seeing a lot more of Mudryk on the left, using his left, going out wide, putting balls into the box. And I think his delivery is improving. I think his delivery has got a lot better. I think he's, still leaving a lot to be desired, still not, where we would want him to be, still not creating over 90 minutes what we would expect him to and having enough of an impact on the game. But I think decision-making is improving. I think his work ethic is clearly there. I've always said Mykhailo Mudryk clearly has the potential to be a fantastic player. His individual talent is there for all to see, but he needs to be man-managed. He's a very confidence-driven player. I think he needs to learn the system around him, and he needs to feel comfortable playing in a system that he is familiar with. And with this Chelsea team, I do feel like it's not skipped him, not missed him out, but this Chelsea team is evolving. And at the moment, while he's not in the first team, it's evolving without him. And it's one of those things where he either stays, he either keeps up or gets left behind. And I do fear with Mykhailo Mudryk that, the less we see of him, the more we see of Neto, Sancho, Madueke performing. I think we are going to see Mudryk potentially put on the sidelines, iced out. And maybe in January, it's a conversation. Do we continue to try and get the best out of him? Do we send him on loan? What do we do with Mykhailo Mudryk? But for now, I mean, he's doing enough for me on a weekly basis to be in with a shout and to be in the squad. Again, another assist in midweek. Every cup competition he plays, he seems to have some sort of positive impact. More often than not, it's an assist. If not, it's still creating opportunities. And I think in tight spaces, again, a lot of that Chelsea front four, a lot of the Chelsea attacking third, it just comes down to decision making. Jadon Sancho, Madueke, Mudryk, Neto, I think all four of them, you could argue decision making is probably the biggest hindrance, the biggest factor of their game as to why they're not succeeding at the moment. Cole Palmer obviously has that down to a T. I think Nkunku on the whole, his decision making is fantastic. João Felix as well. Jackson, it's getting far better. He's still a lot to be desired, but far better from what it was at the start of last season. But the four wingers, I think, do show their age or lack of. They do show their inexperience quite often, and it's one of those where we do. You can only hear trust the process, trust the progress, trust the team, whatever. You can only hear that so many times without just saying, right, we need something now. We need some immediate improvement. But I think if you look at this Chelsea side, from what we were expecting before the first game of the season, 6 games in, second international break already. How the FA, how whatever FIFA, how whatever governing body has got away with this 2 international breaks, 7 games into the season is absolutely horrendous. But yeah, man, I'm happy with where this Chelsea team is at. I'm not getting disillusioned by today. I'm not throwing my toys out the pram because Nottingham Forest are a tough team to go up against, particularly for us. Like I said at the start of the video, we've gone up against them 5 times in recent years. We've won once. It's a bogey team for us. And these are games that we probably wouldn't have got a result out of last season or the season before. I distinctly remember going to Forest, I think it was last season, at home and losing 1-0 very early on in the season under Pochettino. So there are improvements that have been made. And I think, again, I don't want to start making excuses for this Chelsea squad because it's not my place to make excuses for them. But, it did look a little bit like today, a game, last game before the international break, a little bit of running out of steam. This Chelsea team have played the same team. They no changes from the starting lineup. I know it is a different team in midweek, but, a lot of the players still getting used to the system, still getting used to the team and obviously the manager and how he wants them to play, still getting accustomed to their expectations, what is expected of them. But yeah, not a glittering performance from Chelsea today. I don't think it was near to our best this season by any stretch. Nowhere near as dominating as well. It's not like we could look at it and say, we dominated possession, dominated the big chances, should have come away with the win. Realistically, we should have, but that's just from Chelsea fans saying this is Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. If you look at it on the face of the game, I think chances were fairly even. Robert Sanchez got us out of jail a couple of times and pulled off some great saves to keep us in the game. Similar with Sells, Cole Palmer could have had a couple today. Again, small, fine margins. And how many times have I said that this season? When we come against the bigger teams, the better teams, the tougher games that will be 1-1, 0-0, fine margins, those are the games where we're going to have to make the right decisions. The tiny little, the 2% of your game, which is the 2% you need to get right. That is what we needed to work on today. And I think while it's just Forest, it is a testament to how we've grown as a Chelsea side, from where we were under Potter and Pochettino, losing these games, but also shows that we still have a lot to learn, still have a lot to do, still have a lot to grow as a team and to improve on. And obviously, well, yeah, just quick note on Colwill. Top boy Colwill. I thought he had a superb game today. Thought his passing was great. And yeah, fair play for backing Cucurella. He's always the first to run over there in a scrap if Nicholas Jackson's off the pitch anyway. He's always the first to back the beef. So Levi Colwill, keep doing you, man. You need to cool it a little bit, but yeah, no, I see that. And future Chelsea captain 110%. But yeah, fairly brief one to close out the international break. We will be hopefully bringing you a fair bit of content over the international break. Obviously, we've got a two-week break now until Chelsea. I think the next game Chelsea play is in 2 weeks exactly, on the 20th of October against Liverpool. So I will be bringing you a live match reaction for that. May even be bringing you a live match watch along. It's a fairly big game. So you know what? For the big games this season, might try and do a couple of watch alongs, but we'll keep you posted either way. Charms did drop, or we did drop Mr. C Money's first episode of Chopping It with Charms yesterday, talking about Cole Palmer being the best player in the world, John Duran being fictitious AI. So make sure if you haven't to go and watch that. And obviously, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel, and also make sure to drop us a like, comment as well. We are this is a live stream. Get involved. Let me know who your man of the match was today. Let me know what your thoughts on this Chelsea performance were, and also what your thoughts are of this Chelsea season so far. Obviously, going into an international break, so there's going to be a lot of retrospective analysis going on. We're going to be delving into a few more things. It's looking positive. Chelsea flying in cup competitions, pulling out results. I think 7 games in, I've seen a lot more positivity than I had at this point under Pochettino. It's looking good. We're still a work in progress. There's still 2 horses and a little horse, but we're working. We're getting there. We're building. We're loading. And just thanking God that Hudson-Odoi didn't score today. Because if Callum Hudson-Odoi had scored today, and listen, I still rate him, and I know everyone was saying boo him today, he's shit, fuck him off. Well, we cut him loose. We did him a little bit dirty. I know he took the contract and then, baked off when we gave him that 100 grand a week contract or whatever it was. But I'm just so glad that he didn't score, because he would have celebrated, he would have dunked on us, and he would have done a dirty Instagram caption as well. So let's just take the positives, Chelsea fans. Let's just look at the game as we can and look at the positives. Robert Sanchez might not be the best keeper with the ball at his feet, but he's one of the best shot-stopping keepers in the Premier League. I've never, ever doubted Sanchez's shot-stopping ability. Go back to any one of my videos, any one of my many videos where I've hated on him, slagged him off, said that he shouldn't be Chelsea's number one. His shot-stopping ability has never, ever come into question. It's always been with the ball at his feet. It's always been his distribution, the hospital balls, how unsafe he makes me feel. And again today, every time he gets the ball, my heart goes into my mouth. But I think there's not many better shot stoppers in the Premier League. And yeah, he showed that today. So credit where credit is due. And nobody tell me that I do not hold my hands up and give plaudits when the players deserve it. Robert Sanchez, my man of the match today. Some top world-class saves. Kept us in it. Kept the game at 1-1. Saved us 3 points at the end. Saved us a point at the end. And yeah, saved us from embarrassment, to be honest. Because if we had lost today, it would have been embarrassing, I think. 1-1, you can just about justify it. But if we had lost today, no matter the nature of the defeat, it would have been embarrassing. But yeah, not 6 wins on the bounce, but still 6 games unbeaten, 5 wins and a draw on the bounce for Enzo Maresca's Chelsea. Great form going into a tough run of games after the international break. Like I said, we've got Liverpool, we've got Newcastle, we've got Manchester United. I think we've got Villa. Might have Tottenham mixed up in there as well. We've got a few tough teams. Arsenal can't be far off as well. There's going to be a few tough teams around the corner, and it's going to be interesting to see how this Chelsea side, how this Enzo Maresca team do face against some proper tests. How we do fare against big teams in the, like I said, fine margin games. It's going to be interesting. We saw us get slapped 2-0 by Man City, but we a lot of mitigating factors in that game that made me write off that defeat instantly. The Chelsea team wasn't nearly ready. Few players not back up to speed. Team wasn't up to full fitness. There were a lot of reasons why that game was not a fair indicator, a fair measure of where this Chelsea team were or are part post preseason. And I think now we're 7 games in, we've got a lot better grasp. And yeah, it's time to bring on the big boys, man. Give it 2 weeks. Let these boys, let the boys go off, and fingers crossed Christopher Nkunku has an injury-free and positive return to the France side. Levi Cole, hopefully he has positive run with England. Maresca as well. Hopefully everybody. Palmer, I want him to get some game time for England after they've just been shafting him time and again. Hopefully there's injury-free Cobham, Reece James potentially on the brink of return against Liverpool. Let's see, man. I think that there's far more positives than negatives still. Anybody getting caught up over a 1-1 draw to Nottingham Forest, grow up, get a hold of yourself. It's not all doom and gloom. It's not the end of the world. They are a fairly decent team. But yeah, hopefully we'll lock in for a full match reaction or full weekend reaction. Either tomorrow, Tuesday. Not sure when we'll be able to bring it to you, but I'll get Mr. C Money to catch up on all of the games, all of the weekend's games, so that we can give you a proper breakdown, hopefully with a guest as well. But yeah, for now, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, follow at Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram, the TikTok. I'll be dropping my short on there very, very soon. And yeah, we'll be back for some content. Let us know as well. Let us know in the comments as well what you want to see from us in the international break. Maybe we'll do a Salah Hazard debate, because at the end of the day, international breaks just rife for Salah Hazard debates. Don't know why. What happens when the international breaks come out that everybody has to debate why Salah and Hazard are better than each other? But if it happens again, if it goes all over Twitter again, you know what? We'll bring you out an episode of it, and we'll do a proper long 45-minute episode, just explaining why empirically Eden Hazard is and will always be better than Mo Salah. But, if you've stayed this far on this video, you already knew that was coming out of my mouth. You already knew that was the truth. So I don't need to tell you. But if you are still watching this video, big up to yourself. Make sure to drop us a like, please. Don't take no time. Don't cost no money. Drop us a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And yeah, we will be back very soon, probably tomorrow, maybe the day after, with some more great content for you. But until then, at Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram and the TikTok. Make sure to follow, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, wait for my short, because I know everybody's going to love this short after I've been slagging off Robert Sanchez for about a year and a half. Everyone's going to love this short of Robert Sanchez tonight. Two Blues Podcast. We